doing? The rundown to Christmas, the move through Advent, 3rd of Advent today, Sunday the 13th of December, Thunder in the Desert is what we're looking at. Mr. John the Baptist. Thank you everybody for your gifts. People have been knitting me warm attire because they've realised that the church is outdoors now, not indoors. And all I can say is thank you very much indeed. Let's continue on with the notices. Firstly, what is occurring? There is a plan, okay, for what we'll be doing over the next few weeks through the festive season. It's on the website, it's on social media, and in hard copy in the churches. We managed communion on Sunday the 6th of December, albeit in the church hall and without singing and with masks aplenty. So we've got confidence in all the different things that we want to do. And it sort of runs like this. Hillique is going to be open for private prayer on Sunday the 20th of December. St David's then Wednesday the 23rd of December. And on the 24th, we're going to have a messy church Christmas Eve long in the hall and in the church. So from 10 until 4, we're going to have people coming in set times. We're going to give them like half an hour slots so they can do some messy church activities in the hall and then go and see the church, where we're going to sort of try and have a bit of wow to come to sort of share the Christmas story. And that's going to finish with carols in the car park at 4 o'clock. So that's all in St David's and the church hall. On Christmas Day, there's going to be a podcast from me, as well as a communion in the church hall at 9 o'clock, which you'll need to book for. But like I say, we've got confidence that we can do that now. So we'll have a communion on Christmas Day in the church hall. And then, as is traditional, there will be something in Llanillid on the 27th, so the Sunday after Christmas. We'll have an online service led by me at 9 o'clock, and then at 4 o'clock in Llanillid, we'll have carols by candlelight in the car park. So sort of echoes of what we've done before, but we have to do it in a different way. If you can't sleep in the night, what you can do is you can go to the Church in Wales website and you can read over all the restrictions and the rules that we have to stick to. People see supermarkets sort of full of people and think, why can't the church just open? It ain't like that. There are so many rules that we have to follow. So like I say, can't sleep, go and have a look at the Church in Wales website and have a read of the pages and pages and pages of rules that we have to follow in this new world. Secondly, ministry areas. You'll hopefully have heard that we're at long last going to become part of something bigger, as the diocese has encouraged all parishes to build ministry areas by the end of 2021. And I thought to introduce you to the clergy from our new and wider ministry area. I'd get them to read for these podcasts over the next few weeks. So you're going to meet Reverend Suzanne from Aberkenfig, Reverend Julian from Ogmore, the Ogmore Valley, and Reverend Roger from the Garrow Valley as we go through the next few weeks. Got Reverend Suze today to read to us. Thirdly, Zoom coffee. We're still meeting weekly, 4 o'clock on Wednesdays. It's the 16th of December. Contact me for the access code this week. If you think we should have more than one of these, if it doesn't work for you at Wednesday at 4, but you'd like to sort of gather as a gang to have coffee online, let us know. We're not so much making this up as we go along, but we're responding to the needs of people as we find them. So let us know. And similarly, you need to practice beforehand, one-on-one. Myself or Reverend Glenda will be happy to do that with you. We had to learn all this stuff pretty quick back when lockdown started in March. And finally, me and Reverend Glenda, the shiny new curate, we can be contacted by phone or email or Zoom. Don't feel you're on your own. If you want to chat with somebody, give us a ring and we'll have a chat back with you. Or we'll come and stand and look through your window and chat to you. Just let us know. You're not on your own. These are crazy, crazy days, but we are still one church. Boom, 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 boom. Right. Over to Reverend Sue's for the Gospel reading today. Some little bits of John chapter 1, introducing Mr. John the Baptist.
So this morning's Gospel reading is taken from the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 6 to 8 and verses 19 to 28. And this is from the Message. There once was a man, his name was John, sent by God to point out the way to the lifelight. He came to show everyone where to look, who to believe in. John was not himself the light. He was there to show the way to the light. When Jews from Jerusalem sent a group of priests and officials to ask John who he was completely honest. He didn't evade the question. He told the plain truth. I am not the Messiah. They pressed him. Who then? Elijah? I am not. The prophet? No. Exasperated, they said, Who then? We need an answer for those who sent us. Tell us something, anything, about yourself. I'm thunder in the desert. Make the road straight for God. I'm doing what the prophet Isaiah preached. Those sent to question him were from the Pharisee party. Now they had a question of their own. If you're neither the Messiah, nor Elijah, nor the prophet, why do you baptize? John answered, I only baptize using water. A person you don't recognize has taken his stand in your midst. He comes after me, but he is not in second place to me. I'm not even worthy to hold his coat for him. These conversations took place in Bethany, on the side of the Jordan, where John was baptizing at the time. This is the Gospel of the Lord.
Thank you for that, Reverend Suzanne. Let me give you my thought for the week now, based on that little bit of Gospel. I decided that John the Baptist should not be called John the Baptist anymore. But in the light of the way that he answers the questions in today's Gospel, he should be called John the Nudge. John the Nudge. Let me explain. There's always something new to learn. There's always a new way to look at things. We seem to be discovering more about the world and more about the way we as humans interact with each other as year goes to year. One of the things we've discovered in the last few years and has now really been put into practice is the concept of nudge theory. Nudge theory. It's first used in the 90s. It was refined and brought to prominence in the noughties. So an average definition of the concept of nudge theory would run something like this. A nudge, as we will use the term, is any aspect of the choice architecture that alters people's behaviour in a predictable way without forbidding any options or significantly changing their economic incentives. To count as a mere nudge, the intervention must be easy and cheap to avoid. Nudges are not mandates. Putting fruit at eye level counts as a nudge. Banning junk food does not. In simple language, a nudge is something small that catches people's attention and encourages them to make a better choice. It's a busy world out there with good information and also not so good information. So to help people make good choices, it is acceptable to give them a little nudge. So with that in mind, let's look at the conversation between John and those sent to have a chat with John. Verse 19. When Jews from Jerusalem sent a group of priests and officials to ask John who he was completely honest. He didn't evade the questions. He told the plain truth. I am not the Messiah. So they ask who John is, and he says he is not the Messiah. He doesn't give away yet who he is, but he's already nudging them to think about Jesus. the Messiah by including a reference to him in his answer. Cheeky. Then, verse 21, they pressed him. Who then? Elijah? I am not. He nudges them again by closing off that path entirely. He's not the reincarnation of Elijah, who did not die but went to heaven in a golden chariot. So they carry on. The prophet? No. Here they go for another big Jewish idea of the prophet that God will send to accomplish his purposes. Again, the nudge to close off that path of thinking also. By now, they are out of ideas, and so we read, verse 22. Exasperated, they said, who then? We need an answer for those who sent us. Tell us something, anything about yourself. Now, by controlling the conversation, or nudging them along, we get to the point where they admit they have been sent. They must have an answer. John has given them nothing, and instead nudges them into an empty place, and they're begging. John then says, I'm thunder in the desert. Make the road straight for God. I'm doing what the prophet Isaiah preached. He's telling them who he is, and he's inviting them to understand he's on a mission from God. What do? They then try and steer the conversation away from that. Those sent to question him were from the Pharisee party. Now they had a question of their own. If you're neither the Messiah, nor Elijah, nor the prophet, why do you baptize? John doesn't get sidetracked, but nudges them back to the point, back to Jesus. Verse 26. John answered, I only baptize using water. A person you don't recognize has taken his stand in your midst. He comes after me, but he's not in second place to me. I'm not even worthy to hold his coat for him. The poor chaps have come under orders to find out who this John the Baptist is, and the best they can get is that he's on a mission from God, and that what they really need to be doing is keeping their eyes out for Jesus. They come in from one direction and get sent out in another direction. John the Baptist, or maybe John the Nudge, playing them at their own game. So what? So what? Well, there's a lot of manipulation and control and underhandedness used in the world, particularly with casinos and the gaming industry, but also in the way that advertising and marketing works. I'd even say that some of the stuff we get through the news channels isn't always tip-top. But those same mechanisms that are used there can be used to nudge us into better decisions and to focus on what's really important. If you fancy a bit of homework, try this. Everybody, I think, is in one way or another looking forward to a bit of Christmas. But sadly, the real meaning of Christmas has become lost in our society over time. So, use the idea of the nudge to see if you can't catch people in conversation and remind them that, for example, Jesus is the reason for the season, little nudge, or that Jesus is God's best gift to us all, little nudge. Yeah, have a go. John the Nudge would be proud of you. Questions as ever, for you to consider to help all that sink in. Number one, you ever been nudged in a bad way? Have you ever been nudged in a bad way to make a bad decision, or been sort of missold something? Ever been nudged in a bad way? Number two, ever been nudged in a good way? Have you ever been sort of nudged maybe by the big G himself, and found yourself in a really good place because of just a little nudge? Number three, can you see what John is doing in this message? It's not just somebody sort of making stuff up. Very, very clever, the way he just guides people. Nudge you, nudge there, nudge you. And they end up sort of coming back with tails between legs. Can you see what God is doing? Can you see John, doing the nudging in this passage? And number four, who can you nudge closer to Jesus this Christmas season? It might feel like nudging is underhanded to you, not if you're making people make good decisions. And getting to know Jesus, best decision Who can you nudge closer to Jesus this Christmas season? And the song for today, so I'm going to bolt on here. One of the things that we can do is become distracted and need to remember that everything we do in church is all about Jesus. John never forgot this. So let's take a lesson from him and sing, "Oh, come let us adore him." It's a modern sort of song which takes an old song. "Oh, come let us adore him." The prayer for today. Here we go. Hands together, close your eyes. Dear God, thank you for the example of John the Baptist dealing with the people who are questioning. Help us to understand the power of the nudge in a day-to-day life, and help us to use that power to nudge people towards knowing Jesus. Amen. Our time together is at an end, my friends. We'll have some music and a bit of a sing-song now, but do keep an eye on the social media. We are open all over the Christmas season, so I will see you maybe in person, if not virtually, as we go through the end of Advent and into Christmas.
Let's lift up our hands this morning. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore